Hard sports all plays. Yeah. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Hard sport all plays, like working your faces. Race at the field, so tie the laces. Hard sports all plays.
All right. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk. I'm Chris Gonzo Gonzalez, joined by the sports judge Jonathan Mathis. Got quite a bit going on in the sports world tonight. NBA back after no NBA last night. So got some college football. If you're a Maction fan, them games are always fun to watch on Tuesdays and Wednesdays because you never know what's going to happen. But how's it going, Judge?
What's up, man? How's it going? I'm doing well. I hope you're hanging in there.
Yeah, not doing bad. It could always be worse.
It could. And you always have to look at the positives and, just live each day while you still can, and that's all we can do. But man, it's always great to talk sports. This is what we like to do. This is what we do best. Let's do it. Let's make it happen tonight. Because as you said, there's plenty to talk about. There's a lot going on in the world of sports right now. When isn't there? There's always something happening. There's always news to talk about. And there's a lot that's happened today. I know Jake Odorizzi got traded again. Again? What is this, like his fourth team already? And then reports came out today that Ime Udoka is not going to be the Brooklyn Nets coach after all. I mean, it's a real travesty for the Brooklyn Nets, man. It's been so much drama, and we haven't even, I don't think it's been 3 weeks of basketball yet, and there's so much drama and chaos surrounding this team. The Nets are in the news, but garnering attention for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it came out there. They hired, I think it's Jack Vaughn as their next head coach. The Nets I was just actually watching some of the Nets game. They got a win tonight. They blew them out. I watched the Pacers. I'll tell you what, Pacers in Denver was a hell of a game. Pacers was up by 18 at one point. And then ended up losing the game. Played terrible in the second half, and blew the game. But it was a fun game to watch and went down to the wire. So there's been some pretty good games on tonight. I watched a little bit of football, but oh no, I ain't gonna lie. I miss baseball, and then I miss NFL. Wish NFL was played on more days than just once a week or twice a week.
Yeah, but if you played NFL every other day or damn near every day, then everybody would be injured.
Yeah, I understand why, but it'd be nice if we had more games.
You'll have a long list of injuries. Half of the players will be sitting out due to injuries because it's a physical, violent sport. You would jeopardize a lot of players' health and everything. That would look ugly for a lot of those players, man. Baseball, you miss it, but it's about to be a good winter, man. It's going to be a winter that's going to be filled with suspense, drama. It's going to be interesting to see where Aaron Judge ends up, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. There's been a lot of reports and rumors circulating about him possibly ending up with the Giants. There's talks about him ending up with the Rangers. There's talks about him ending up with the Mets. There's talks about him ending up with the Red Sox. That's the big story this offseason in baseball. Where would Aaron Judge end up? Because he's obviously the biggest prize on the free agent market this year. And it is a pretty star-studded free agency class. But Aaron Judge is the biggest name, and he's the one that stands out the most.
Yeah, you're right, and I think he's going to end up with the Giants, but we'll get into that here in a minute. Let's talk about the college football playoff rankings. They came out last night, and Tennessee fell from 1 to 5, which kind of surprised me. How you fall all the way out of the top 4. They moved TCU into the top 4. Nothing against TCU, but just with, I mean, Tennessee beat Alabama. The only loss they have is to the number 1 team, the new number 1 team. But you're moving them all the way out of the top 4 to 5. That I didn't understand that a little bit. I thought Tennessee deserved to still be at least 4. What was your thoughts on the new college football rankings? You're muted, Judge.
One thing you have to realize, Chris, in college football, there's a lot of bias, right? And the NCAA doesn't always get it right. I like TCU because TCU has, enjoyed plenty of success this season. They have put together a good program. They're winning football games. They have a star-studded offense. They have a very explosive offense. It's fun to watch the team. But I don't know how I feel about them being in the college playoff rankings. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I obviously know how you feel about it. You obviously don't think they're deserving to be in the playoff picture, at least not right now.
I'd have had them at 5.
Right, and Tennessee drops to 5, but Tennessee dropped a lot because of who they played. It was the toughest team on their schedule, Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia has the top defense in the country. They pride themselves on great defense, and they took care of business at home against a very good Tennessee team. And Tennessee, believe it or not, they were favorites coming into that game. But again, we talk about Hendon Hooker not looking like himself in that game. We all know that he's clearly one of the top quarterbacks in the country. The moment was too big for him, playing on the road in Athens, Georgia. It was a scenario that a lot of people didn't envision because a lot of people had Tennessee as favorites in the game. So Tennessee drops because they lose to a powerhouse school in the SEC conference, arguably the toughest conference in college football. So I can see why Tennessee took a drastic fall in the college playoff or the college football standings. But the rankings, I don't have too much of a complaint because, again, next week, all it takes is some more upsets, some more thrilling finishes, some more blowouts, and once again, we'll have a college football shakeup as we've been having all season long. So, these things are going to change. They don't stay the same. Oregon has looked good. Alabama hasn't looked so good. I don't think Alabama, to me, is not a top 10 school. A lot of people might feel differently, but I don't feel that they belong in the top 10. I think they should be, knocked out of the top 10. To be perfectly honest, Michigan, maybe they should be ranked a little bit higher. I think that will change when they meet Ohio State and beat Ohio State. A lot of people feel Ohio State is ranked too high. Ohio State has, one of the more premier offenses in the country, led by C.J. Stroud and, that great offense of theirs. And, a lot of people can argue that they're complete on both sides of the ball. They have a pretty good defense and offense. They can stop people and they can score a lot of points. But Georgia is definitely the number 1 team in the country. They're the top ranked school. They need to be because they to me, they're the most complete and most balanced team in college football. And they showed that when they stopped a very, very good Tennessee team that had arguably the most explosive offense coming in, led by a Heisman hopeful in Hendon Hooker, who was rattled out there, who didn't look like himself, who looked uncharacteristic and took a beating from a very good Georgia team.
No, I understand Tennessee was going to drop. I just didn't think they should have dropped 4 spots. I thought they should have dropped to number 4. But I agree with what Dustin just said. I don't think the moment was too big for Hooker. One, I don't think there's any team that was going to beat Georgia the way they played that day. But for 2, you can't put that whole loss on Hooker. Yeah, he didn't look like himself some, but a lot of that was he was getting killed because the Tennessee offensive line was struggling to block that strong defensive line of Georgia. So I don't think it was that. I think you're trying to put too much of the loss on Hooker. Yeah, quarterbacks get more of the loss and more of the blame, and they also get more credit sometimes. But I agree. I don't think the moment was too big for Hooker. I just think Georgia played up to their probably the best they could have played. I mean, they played a perfect football game, but the big key in that game was the line of scrimmage, and Georgia was able to win the line of scrimmage. And that pass rush was able to get to Hooker and not let that Tennessee offense get in rhythm. But so I would have had Tennessee at 4. Nothing against TCU because I mean they might make the top 4. Might have made my top 4 if they keep winning. I just don't see how your only losses to the number 1 team in the country, but we're going to move you down 4 spots for it. I think that I just thought that was a little too many.
Yeah, that was a bit too harsh and not lenient for a team that lost to a team, with, a premier defense, a defense that has proven that they can more or less stop anyone that they play. So yeah, that was a bit harsh, but again, it's a biased system. It's been that way for years. And, we've seen teams get snubbed. We've seen teams, fall in the polls. We've seen teams fall out of the polls. We've seen teams that was ranked higher than they should have been. That's just the way it is. We've seen teams omitted from the college football playoffs, or that old wacky system that they had in the past that was very biased, the BCS. When the outcome was dictated by computers back in the day. Thank God we don't have that anymore. They finally have put that out as misery. But still, even though we have this system in place now that was implemented several years back, people are still complaining because there's not enough teams in the playoffs. There should be a playoff system where it's expanded, where more teams have a chance to contend and compete for a national title. And even though when the time comes to expand the playoffs, which I think they came to an agreement to expand the playoffs, there's still going to be people complaining because then they're going to say, well, there should be more teams that should be able to qualify for the playoffs. So, I mean, you can't please everyone. Someone's going to find something wrong with the rankings, and then there's going to be other people that's going to be, you know what? Okay, I'm content. This is the way it is. This is what the playoff picture looked like thus far.
No, I agree. And let's take a look over in the NFL. You have Matt Stafford, who's in concussion protocol, so he might not be available this weekend
here we go.
For the Rams. Then you also have Josh Allen dealing with an elbow injury that's day to day. I mean, it'd be a Wednesday, and Matt Stafford's still in concussion protocol. I think that there's probably a pretty slim chance that he might play, a slim chance of him playing on Sunday. Allen's day to day, so I think he might play. But how much is it going to affect this struggling Rams team not to have their quarterback?
Oh, it's going to affect the Rams tremendously because they like to, go through the air a lot. They're a one-dimensional offense. So they're a pass-first offense. They're a pass-heavy offense. So they're going to need Matthew Stafford's presence, even though he hasn't played up to his standards this season. We've seen the shortcomings this season and how he has struggled to lead his offense. He hasn't been able to orchestrate drives like he was a season ago. Things have been different for Matthew Stafford and this Rams offense, particularly because of the offensive line woes that continues to plague this team. But I think, Chris, if he's not available to go on Sunday, the Rams are really in trouble. You think they're in trouble with him on the field? They're really in trouble without him because this is a team that's struggling with him. Can you picture it in your head how it would really look if he's not available come Sunday? He's a big part of their offense, regardless if he makes mistakes or turn over the ball or not.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a big loss for him. I think Allen will play for Buffalo. Just how effective he's going to be, nobody will know. But I think he'll try to give it a go. With Stafford, it's not really up to him at this point. It's up to the doctors that are evaluating him when he gets to come back. Rams would have John Wolford as their starting quarterback if Stafford don't play. And like you said, they can't get the run game going. So I think they're really going to struggle without Stafford because it's not like they can just let Wolford try to hand the ball off and manage the game because they can't get a running game going. So they're going to have to. He's going to have to throw the ball, and that could be bad news.
Yeah, that could be bad news. As for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills,
and see what I think too, though, is out of the two, I think it hurts the Rams more because if Allen don't play, at least the Buffalo does have Case Keenum, who has showed that he can come in spots and win games, and you also have Stephon Diggs on that team that Keenum's thrown the ball to successfully before. So I feel more comfortable with their backup than I do the Rams' backup. That's why I would say that it would hurt the Rams more, but I do think Allen will end up playing.
Knowing Allen and knowing the fierce competitor that he is, he will end up playing. I just hope he doesn't try to do too much because that can cause a setback. If he tries to do too much, I think he should do less running. We all know how mobile of a quarterback he is, but you got to make those throws and you got to have a quick release and try to avoid getting hit as much as possible. I mean, you gotta move your team down the field through the air and get a pass off and deliver those passes down the field and avoid being hit as much as possible. But we all know that Josh Allen likes to put his body on the line. And he's going to do whatever it takes to put his team in position to win. And if that's having to rush for a touchdown, he will do that. But that kind of worries me, that he's going to rush too much and he's going to take he's going to take a nasty hit and, it could result in a setback. And that's something that the Buffalo Bills don't need because he is a pivotal part to their offense. He plays a huge role to what they're trying to accomplish in Buffalo. And they're going to need their main guy. And he's their main guy. So the key for him is staying healthy because he's a key component to that offense. And they need him to be healthy. So that's a little concerning to me.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. It sounds like it's not something major, or they won't even be trying to let him play. And like I said, I feel a little more comfortable with their backup than when I do the Rams, just because we've seen Keenum be able to play in some spots and do all right. I know you wanted to talk about let's talk some about the Brooklyn Nets. They have been having a lot going on between the Kyrie Irving stuff and firing Steve Nash. Was going to hire UDOKA, but now today decided to back out on hiring UDOKA because of some of the feedback and negative feedback and stuff they were getting, and have decided to hire Jack Vaughn. I think Jack Vaughn. That was is that who now? I think that was his name. I'd have to look again, but they
Yeah, Jock
hired a
Vaughn.
coach.
Yeah, Jock Vaughn. That's his name.
They hired a coach. Uh, he was already the interim coach, but now they've named him the head coach. What do you think about that move, and what do you think about him backing off of Udoka?
Well, Udoka, man, he comes in with a distraction. I know he has ties to the organization. He was there before. He's familiar with a lot of those guys. But at the same time, he brings baggage, to the organization. And this organization needs a culture change. And by bringing in someone like Udoka, who, was in the middle of a scandal that was just ugly and blew up in the national media. This is the last thing the Nets want. They're already dealing with enough with Kyrie Irving. His, scandal was enough to cause an uproar within the organization. So the owner is already dealing with that. The organization is already off to a tumultuous start to the season. It's been a slow start. They fired Steve Nash. We all know the story there. We know that, this team has chemistry issues. They're dealing with Kyrie Irving and his character issues. And there's just a lot going on. So I can see why they kind of backed away from Ime Udoka. And Ime Udoka, has a permanent scar now that will remain with him forever after, having an affair with a staffer in the Boston Celtics organization. It's funny, but it's also sad at the same time. So I can see why they decided to not hire him as the head coach. They reneged on their word because they were going to hire him, and I thought it was a done deal. I think most of us did. And then it came out today that they decided to hire Jock Vaughn as their head coach. But we'll see how it works out. Jock Vaughn has coached before in the NBA. I believe that was with the Orlando Magic, if I'm correct. So he does have some coaching experience. And he does, bring some leadership to the team. And I think the players will, buy into him. I still think they need a big name coach. They need someone they need a Mark Jackson over there. They need someone that's gonna come in there, a no nonsense guy who's not gonna put up with any nonsense. They need a guy who brings that charisma, who brings that knowledge, and who can reshape the culture and clean up the mess that has been made within that organization. And I think Mark Jackson would have been the perfect fit for them. But obviously, Jock Vaughn is their guy.
Yeah, so I'm a little the other way on this. I kind of think it's a bunch of bullshit that he's kind of getting blackballed, not getting hired because there was some negative feedback coming back. Because is what he done? Yeah, he violated the Celtics policy about having a relationship with a staff member, but he didn't do nothing that doesn't happen every day in this world. And people don't lose their jobs and get where they can't get another job in that field because they had an affair. So to me, hey, he's doing his punishment. He got suspended. He lost his head coaching job where he was at, but he shouldn't get. I don't think he should lose other opportunities because of this. I think that's. I know it's not the world we live in anymore, but it's just ridiculous to try to cancel people over stuff that happens every day to the in the average world, and nothing ever gets says about it because it's not a professional sports guy doing it, or a coach that has money doing it.
Right.
So I'm kind of disappointed that he didn't get a chance to coach because hey, I mean, yeah, what he done was wrong, but it happens all the time. So why are we overly penalizing one person when we don't penalize other people? So
Right.
I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Not and nothing against Vaughn. Not saying Vaughn's not going to do a good job for the Nets, but I just thought Udoka would be a good fit, and I think the reasons why they're not pursuing him, unless there's some other stuff that comes out. But if it's just because they were getting some negative feedback and stuff like that, to me, you gotta have a little more kahunas and stick to your guns. If you think he's the guy, give him the job, and then deal with the other stuff afterwards.
Well, I agree with you. I thought he was the right fit too. You see what he did in Boston. He led them to an NBA Finals. Led the team to an NBA Finals. He proved that he was the perfect hire for the team. Patience, brilliance, preparation. He brought all of that to that Celtics organization, and the Celtics couldn't have fared any better with him. He faced a tall task, and he was able to handle it. And this is a guy, again, and I know I always say this, he comes from the Greg Popovich coaching tree. He learned from one of the best, and this team was able to turn it around after a brutal start. And where did they end up? They ended up in the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, they lost in the NBA Finals to a better Warriors team, but they still got there. And they were able to do amazing things. And Udoka, he steered the franchise in the right direction.
Yeah. NBA, is there any team here the first couple of weeks that maybe have surprised you, or a team that you think that's been disappointing?
Well, for me, the team that's been disappointing to me, and that's the Lakers. Even though I knew they was gonna get off to a slow start, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. I didn't expect them to start the season 2-8. I thought it would be, at least win more than 2 games early in the season. So the Lakers have been disappointing. That's the most disappointing team to me. The biggest surprise is the Utah Jazz and their record. What their record indicate is what a lot of people didn't expect to see from the Utah Jazz. And their bench, believe it or not, is playing very well as well. They're the early surprise right now. They're clicking on all cylinders. They're winning basketball games. They have great unity. They have played with togetherness. And that team continues to showcase its talent and, the versatility that it has and the pieces that it has. I know it's still early, but to me, the Utah Jazz look very impressive to start the season.
Yeah, the Jazz have been impressive. I think they'd be kind of a surprise to me too, just because I didn't expect with all with the trades they made, losing Donovan Mitchell, losing Gobert. I thought they would be struggling some, but they've been playing. They got a group of guys that's been playing good together. So I like the Jazz as one of the surprise teams so far. Another team that's kind of it's been more disappointing, or kind of not even disappointing, but it's confusing, is the Golden State Warriors. Haven't played well on the road at all. I've gone through an early slump here for a team that the first couple of games looked like they were probably going to get on a roll. but their defense hasn't been great. So I'm interested to see how long it takes the Warriors to get out of this little funk they've been in. I'll tell you what, a little bit of a surprise team to me is the Pacers. I know they're only like 5-6, but with this young team they have, they've got to win over the Nets. They barely should have beat the Nuggets tonight, but they're competing. So I would say, as a Pacer fan, I am a little surprised because I think this team is a little better at this point of the season than what I thought they would have been.
Yeah, they're a little bit ahead of schedule. They're showing a glimpse of the future of what things could look like in the near future. They're a young team. They're energetic. They play with a lot of poise, but they're still got a lot of growing up to do, and they will have growing pains down the stretch. But as they continue to grow, they will improve. They got a good young team over there.
Our rookie Maturin had 30 points tonight.
See,
off 10 for 17 shooting. No, he's as of right. I mean, I know it's early in the season, but right now he's right up there as rookie of the year. He's a rookie of the year candidate. He's averaging over 20 points a game as a rookie so far. He's looked good. Halliburton has looked good. I think Halliburton had 26 tonight. And Dorte's been playing good, but he's hurt right now, so he wasn't out there tonight. But we Pacers were up by 18 over the Nuggets and end up collapsing in the second half after playing a real good first half. But it's a young team, but I like the core that we have, and I've seen some improvement from the first couple of games to now at the 11th or 12th game.
And Helen, what's his name? How you pronounce his name? I always pronounce his name wrong.
Halliburton.
You probably know. Yeah, that guy has a high ceiling.
Oh yeah,
that guy really has a high ceiling. He will soon enough emerge into a superstar. I think he's going to be a cornerstone player. I think he will continue to grow, and I know he knows there's room for improvement. But you got to like what you're seeing from him. You got to like what you're seeing from him. And, there's a lot of great things on the horizon for that Indiana Pacers team.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but between him and Matt Turin, I think you could really build around them too.
Yeah.
All right.
You can definitely build around those two guys, and right now, it is the start of a rebuild for them. But soon enough, if they continue to grow together and they continue to learn and get better, they'll be a team to watch out for in the Eastern Conference for sure. No question about it.
And then we get the Falcons at the Panthers tomorrow night for Thursday night football. Should be another great Thursday night football game like all the other ones we've been having this season.
Oh, God, yeah. Who is it again? The Panthers and who?
And the Falcons.
Yeah, well, the Falcons, to me, they've been a surprise.
They're inconsistent. They just ain't been able to do it.
They're inconsistent, but that run game, though.
Oh, yeah. They just ain't been able to.
It's a run-heavy offense.
It seems like they find ways to lose games at the end of the games.
Yeah. They can't close out games. They can't finish strong in the fourth quarter.
I think this will be an entertaining game just because I don't think either defense has been playing great. But I think the Falcons come out with the win in this game Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Falcons come out with a win as well. Like I said, I like the Falcons' run game. I really like the Falcons' run game. I like Arthur Smith. He's a great offensive mind. I think he's pointing that team in the right direction. Now, that's not me saying that they're close to being a consistent winner, but they definitely have some pieces on that team that can help them get to the next level. And Arthur Smith is laying the groundwork for that team. You know, he has kind of created a blueprint for that team's success. Now it's about execution and consistency and putting it all together with the pieces that they do have. But they're close, but I'm not saying that they're ready yet. But it does look promising for the Atlanta Falcons as well. And I think once they find the right quarterback, you know, that can fit what they're doing over there, that's when the Falcons can really take off.
Big matchup this week is the Minnesota Vikings at the Buffalo Bills. They have the Bills as 3.5-point favorites at home. Like I said, we're not. They say that Josh Allen's day to day. I think he plays. What do you expect from this game?
Well, if Josh Allen plays, then yes, the Buffalo Bills are definitely the favorites to win. But the Minnesota Vikings have made a major upgrade at the tight end position. So they've gotten better offensively. And Kirk Cousins has another weapon at his disposal now. So you plug that tight end into the offense along with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, whose numbers have not stood out this season. You know, he has seen a drop off in production, but you still got all these weapons. And then I can't forget to mention Dalvin Cook and that strong run game that the Vikings have as well. This could be a good game. This game could be closer than a lot of people think. And Chris, I'm gonna say this: if Buffalo's not careful, it could be a trap game. This is another test for the Buffalo Bills.
I don't think it's a trap game because they're going to be up for this game, but
yeah,
it's going to be a good game. I think the Vikings are one of the quietest 7-1 teams that we've seen. I mean, they only have one loss, and nobody even hardly talks about the Vikings. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFC and have a shot to getting out of the NFC. They got a solid quarterback in Kirk Cousins. They have a good run game, like you talked about with Dalvin Cook. They have offensive weapons. To me, it's more on their defense, how their defense plays down the stretch. But they have a pretty good defense, and they have a defense, I believe, that's a capable enough defense for them to make a deep playoff run. But this will be interesting to see how they show up and play against the Buffalo Bills team, who I still believe is the team to beat in the AFC. I still think it's between them and the Chiefs, but with the healthy Josh Allen, I like the Bills. Bills have been banged up in their secondary a little bit, so there is some questions on their defense at times. They don't run the ball. A lot of people say effectively with Singletary, but a lot of that I think they don't give him as many carries as he should get because Josh Allen's also able to run the ball as well. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be interesting to see if Allen plays, and if he does play, how effective he'll be with that elbow. But no, I expect this to be a real good game, and it'll be nice to see where both these teams stand here about midway through the season.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
That's probably the biggest matchup for me, other than the Colts and the Raiders, which that's a big matchup to me because I'm a big Colts fan, and it's going to be the debut of the Jeff Saturday era in Indianapolis. So I'm kind of looking forward to Sunday to see if there's what it looks like under Jeff Saturday. It's going to be interesting. I know he said he's for now that Sam Ehlinger was going to be the starter. So who knows? There could be maybe a change later on if Ehlinger isn't playing well. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that game. So I'm interested in that. Any games that you're kind of interested in for NFL this week?
Well, you mentioned it. For me, it's the Bills and the Vikings. We just talked about it. I'm gonna talk about it again because look, the Minnesota Vikings are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They've won their last 6 games and have the second best record behind no one else but the Philadelphia Eagles, of course. And the Bills had a nice winning streak of their own going before they lost to the Jets in week 9. So, of course, the Bills are going to be looking to bounce back while the Vikings are going to be looking to, improve on the season. And, I mean, you got some dynamic playmakers on both teams. You got Stephon Diggs. He's a playmaker for Buffalo. And he's playing against his former team. He's set to play against his former team, by the way. And then, of course, you look on the other side, and you got Justin Jefferson, who has put up some big numbers this season as well. So I'm looking forward to watching those two teams go at it. I think it's going to be some game, but I doubt that they'll put it on in my market where I live. I probably won't be able to watch the Bills once again.
I'll watch
all the Bills games this season, and they never put them on out here in LA.
We got LA, man.
Yeah, we gotta put up with the crappy Chargers, and then we get all the Rams games, which I don't have a problem with. But the damn Chargers, sure, I don't care about them.
I think. Well, I was gonna say that's another game that could be interesting. The Sunday night game, Chargers and 49ers.
I think the 49ers blow them out.
That could be an interesting game. So I mean, there's some decent spots for it to be some interesting games. You just never know. But I think the Chargers and 49ers could be an entertaining game. You got a lot of talent on both sides.
You do.
A lot of injuries have derailed the Chargers some, plus some of the coaching decisions by Staley.
Right. And that's why I got the 49ers blowing them out. I got the 49ers beating them down pretty good. Remember, the 49ers got Christian McCaffrey now. That was a major upgrade to their offense. You plug him into the offense, he could create a lot of problems. And he has so far. You saw what he did against the Rams. He lit them up. Torched them.
Yeah. I figured you were going to be looking forward to this Denver Broncos against the Tennessee Titans game.
Nah.
I thought you was a big Broncos fan.
Hell no. No, I the Broncos have been a disappointment. Russell Wilson has been a disappointment to start the season. I'm not big on that game. I don't think anybody really is. I think the Tennessee Titans take care of business. I think Derrick Henry is going to have another great game another productive day on the ground.
No, that'd be a game. Well, I mean, I won't watch much of it because it's on around the same time as the Colts, and because I watched the first game I'll watch at 1:00. I'll watch the Bills and the Vikings, and then at 4:00 I'll watch the Colts game. So, and then of course I'll check out that Sunday night game between the Chargers and 49ers just because it's the only game on Sunday night. Before we get out of here, you got anything else you want to talk about, Judge?
Where would Aaron Judge end up? With the Giants, the Mets? Will he resign with the Yankees for a long time? Will he sign his life away and be a Yankee, wear the pinstripes? Or is he coming close to home and gonna sign with the Giants? A lot of people think he's going to go to the Giants, and the Giants already said they're not going to be outbid by anyone.
I'm going to say I think he's going to end up staying the Yankee. But if he does leave the Yankees, I think he'll go to San Francisco. But I just have a gut feeling that the Yankees are going to figure out a way to keep him there. Because he seems like he's happy there from all accounts when you hear him in interviews and stuff. It's not like he's been disgruntled there. They weren't able to come to a contract agreement before the season last year. So And the Yankees usually don't shy away from paying people. So I think Judge will end up staying there. But if he staying the Yankee and wearing the pinstripes, but if he does leave, I would say the next option would be the San Francisco Giants.
You know what would be crazy? No one's talking about the Mets being a surprise team. The Mets got a new owner, an owner who's willing to spend money, who's willing to bid for a player. What if it came down to the Yankees and the Mets bidding for Aaron Judge? What if it came down to a bidding war between both of those teams? That would be something to watch. That would be crazy. That would be more exciting than probably watching a baseball game between those two teams. That might be more exciting than the Subway Series itself.
New York would be crazy if that happened. You wouldn't be able to go outside in New York without fearing for your life. if they had that going on, that there was that the Mets and the Yankees are in a bidding war over Judge. Oh yeah, you'll have people fighting in the streets in New York.
That would be madness right there. If it came down to it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't see if he leaves. He's leaving New York altogether. I don't see him.
Yeah, I think it's either the Yankees or the Giants.
Right. I don't see him signing with the Mets at all. I think the Giants have the money to give him. They definitely need another big name free agent, and Aaron Judge is that guy. You know, you can add him to your offense, and he can give you that power that your offense has lacked, and he can be that one big name that the Giants have been searching for. And the Giants are tired of losing the division. I know they won the division a year before last against the Dodgers, but they're tired of the Dodgers being the division champs every year. They have something to say about that, and if they get judged, they have a chance to contend against the Dodgers, and they know what the Padres are doing, and they know all the moves that the Padres have made as well. So the Giants are trying to contend against both the Padres and the Dodgers, and they know this is their chance and their real shot to land a free agent like Aaron Judge. So I think him going to the Giants make a lot of sense. I think he's linked to the Giants because he's also from the Bay Area. You know, he's from Northern California, so he'll be closer to home. Two, the Giants have the money and the resources to make this splash. And three, the Giants need a big name star, and they need a star that can put butts in seats in San Francisco, because we all know how San Francisco fans can be. If the team ain't doing anything and if they're not worth crap, the fans are not going to show up. And the fans are not going to show up if there's no stars on the team. And Aaron Judge will put butts in the seats, and he's that guy that the Giants are desperately looking for.
Yeah, that's why I think if he goes anywhere in San Francisco, just because it's his hometown. But I honestly think he's going to end up staying a Yankee. I think the Yankees will end up giving him throwing enough money his way to where he'll stay there where he's been at and been comfortable. I still think that these teams should maybe caution themselves before you throw too much money at him, because you have to remember he has been injury prone. Yes, he stayed healthy for the most part this season, but how many seasons in his career has he had injuries where he's missed a bunch of games or missed a remainder of a season? So that's that. And look, this year he was healthy all season. And look what he done. He had 63 home runs. So I mean, I would pay him, but I'd also wouldn't want to pay him too much. I'd be a little cautious, I would just say, because I'd pay him, but I'd be a little cautious just because he's not a guy that's proven that he can stay healthy year in and year out. I mean, he just have it. And don't get me wrong, he might stay healthy for the next 4 or 5 years. but he hasn't. History tells you that might not be likely. So that'd be interesting as well, as if somebody throws him all this money for 7, 8 years, 7 to 8, 10 years, whatever it ends up being. How many of those years is he going to be able to be healthy and be a contributor and not be dealing with injuries?
Yeah, durability is definitely a question. His health is definitely a question. But at the end of the day, someone is still going to throw the cash at him. Someone is still going to pay him $50 million a year.
No. I know somebody's going to him, but I'm just saying
somebody's going to be desperate enough to give him.
I know somebody's going to. I'm just saying that.
Right.
I think you should be a little bit cautious.
You should, but
I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying don't do it.
Right.
That has to be back in the back of your mind. Is, hey, this dude's only really stayed healthy for one season.
And me as a general manager, that's my way of thinking as well.
But then you have to measure is the reward greater than the risk? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is the risk greater than the reward?
Because look what he's done this season. In his contract year, look what he's done. Look at the incredible numbers that he racked up this season. And then on top of that, he eclipsed Roger Maris's long-standing American League home run record.
The Yankees definitely cost themselves some
remarkable.
money.
What is that?
Yankees definitely cost themselves some money by not getting him signed last season.
Oh yeah, they definitely cost themselves some money, and Aaron Judge bet on himself, and look what happened.
He had a great year. Didn't play. He had a great year, but struggled some in the playoffs. He did struggle in the playoffs.
Struggled significantly in the playoffs, but kept his team afloat during the regular season when everyone else was in a massive slump.
Yeah, no. He had a great year. I'm not trying to take away from his year. I'm just saying he didn't have a great playoffs.
He disappeared.
Didn't have a great playoffs.
When they needed him to step up and be the guy to set the tone for that offense, he didn't come through.
Destin says keyword contract year. Yeah, he played great on the contract year, but is he going to be able to do it other years when it's not a contract year?
Right, and we've seen players.
That is still be
players get big money, right? And what happened after they got those?
It's still to be determined.
Right, it's still to be determined.
Look at Zeke.
Oh, Zeke, he really fell off.
He got all that money, and then
he really fell off. Yeah, he's not even that productive anymore. I think Tony Pollard is better than him. Much better, more explosive. Has the agility, has that lateral quickness. I think he's the overall better running back than he is.
Yeah. Where Zeke has him beat right now, though, is pass protection.
Oh yeah, Zeke has him beat in pass protection, but Zeke,
and that's Zeke, so when they're throwing the ball, they like to have Zeke in there,
right?
But no, Pollard's been running the ball real well. I like Pollard's burst. I agree with you. He's been running the ball better,
right?
But I just don't think they're going to make that complete switch because of the pass protection stuff, especially as you get closer to the playoffs.
So Zeke benefits the team some kind of way, at least you can say. Just not the same running the football consistently.
Yep. All right. You got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
For all the Laker fans out there, the Lakers are breaking news, losing once again 99-87 to the Los Angeles Clippers. And I am not surprised because this team is not in the best state right now.
You say to the Clippers?
Yes.
Yeah, Clippers.
99-87 with 7:20 to play in the fourth quarter.
I didn't take that game. I'll see if I put a pick for that game.
It's all bad.
Hey man, that's just how it is sometimes.
Yep.
All right. My final thought is please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room, also at the Sports Judge and All Sports All Plays Network. We greatly appreciate that. Don't forget, we're live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern with Around the Bases, our baseball show. Myself and the stat guy, Dustin Reese. Join us for that tomorrow morning. Also tomorrow, I'll have Easy Money, a sports betting show, 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. You can find both those shows at Gonzo Sports Room on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and at All Sports All Plays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Check out ASAP in the morning. Craig and Ray do a great job with that in the mornings. Go check them out at the ASAP Network on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, on Roku TV, Tiki TV, all those. Also, check out the ASAP Afternoon Blitz, 1 p.m. Eastern. I host that has multiple different guys that join in on the show. So come check that out on the All Sports All Plays Network. But we appreciate everybody's support. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate everybody getting in the chat room. We love the fan interaction, and we appreciate you. Everybody stay safe, and we will see you guys on Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern with some more Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk. Everybody have a great night. Stay safe.
Good night, everyone.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.